Okay, testicles, spectacles, 1, 2, 3. Here we are at Stockholm or Arlanda Airport, the 777. This is a test. Okay, so we're just testing the loudness of the microphone against the background of the aeroplane. Hopefully that is okay. So this is just a little test. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully this is okay. Hopefully. One, two, three, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello guys, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the stream. We've got some voice going now. We're still testing things. We're still just setting everything up at this end, so bear with me. This is still in the testing phase today. But we're set up here. We're on the stand at Stockholm, and we're fired up, ready to go. We're going to be underway to Helsinki in a moment. We're going to Helsinki from Stockholm Arlanda from Orbix, which is a really nice airport. So let's have a look out. Let's have a look outside, shall we? Just bear with me, guys. We're just setting a couple of things up, and then we'll be underway. Alright, shall we go do some flying? Let's do this then. Let me get rid of my cup of tea. Alright, so, what have we done? We need to do the before taxi checklist, so anti-ice is not required. Recall's checked, flight controls are checked, and the ground equipment is clear. That's the before taxi checklist. And taxi lights come on, and away we go. Plug and brake off. Just let it move a little bit before we start trying to turn. And take a right turn here. Here we go. Alright, so it's runway 19 right here in Stockholm. Not a massively long runway, but pretty heavy today as well. What are we? I think we're about 220 tons today, something like that. So we're not hugely heavy, but we're certainly not light. So we're just going to go around the famous Stockholm roundabouts. So we need to be careful here that we don't drive ourselves onto the runway, which would be bad. So there's one roundabout, and then we're going to go around the second roundabout, and then we're going to make a right, and need to make sure that we don't turn into any of those turn-offs. So not that one, and we've got the little wig-wags to warn us that that's an active runway, so we want to just keep going straight on. What's all this streaming about, says Traffic. The streaming is because there's a big streaming event going on this weekend called Flight Angels, which is a big charity stream, and all the big YouTube streamers are involved. So Frugal is doing it, Nova Wing, lots of the big streamers are involved, and we're doing a stream as well. So it's a round the world flight. Everyone's doing a leg of an hour, and we're going to do this one, which is Stockholm to Helsinki, and we thought we'd do it in something big and fast, so we're doing it in the 777. So that's the story. Hope that answers your question. So this is Orbix Stockholm, which is quite nice. I actually find it a little bit stuttery on my PC, which is a shame, because it's a pretty powerful PC. It's Skylake with a 980 Ti. But I get a few little stutters here, and I don't really know why. I'm going to go off and dig into the settings and find out what the story is. That's the fire station now on the right hand side. Now, we don't want to do... I kept trying to do an intersection takeoff yesterday, and got a little bit nervous when I got towards the end of the runway, so we're going to go all the way to the end. So that's... what's that? Yankee 9, is that? Yep. My iPad's just died, so I haven't got any charts to look at, which is a shame. But anyway, there you go. So, taxiing a little bit too fast. I think about 30 knots is as fast as you're supposed to go in the 777, so I'll be having a phone call from the chief pilot when we get back to base. Alright, so coming round onto the active runway. And I'll just begin to slow us down a little bit. Okay. That'll do. Stop us there. Parking brake on. Right, let me grab my paperwork and we'll do the takeoff review. Okay. So... let's do this. Where's the takeoff review? Where is it? Okay, takeoff review. So, flap 5 we need. Flap 5 is selected, and flap 5 is indicated. So you got to make sure all three are matching up. We need runway 19 right. That looks like runway 19 right there, and it's what it says on the little red sign. V2 is 161 is set. We've got Toga, LNAV, VNAV. We have 5,000 set as the initial altitude. We have 185 as the initial runway heading. We have the correct SID, so it's going in the right direction. The stabilizer trim is 4 units, and just going to reset that a little bit, overshot that. The transponder is 3534 set. And that is the takeoff review complete. Before takeoff checklist, flaps 5 set, and we are clear for takeoff. So, give the guys in the back a little ding, brakes off, and round we go and line up. Yeah, no biscuits meeting, absolutely. Because I'm pretty sure the 777 records all this stuff in its belly. And then at the end of the day, all that information is then downloaded to the HR department, and they'll have a little look and saw that you taxied too fast and you'll be in some trouble. Okay, 19 right. So lining up. Beautiful Stockholm on a nice day. This is actually the weather from yesterday because that's when I planned the flight. So it's yesterday morning, and it was a beautiful day, as you can see here. 21 degrees. Not quite as warm in Helsinki, sadly. Okay, let's not dawdle on the runway for too long. So what do we need to do? The terrain, let's turn that on. And we don't need the weather today. We've talked to the cabin crew. We confirmed that we're on the runway. We've done the checklist, so that's it. We can go. Right, let's stand up the throttles, 50%. Hit the clock in case one of the engines blows up. Okay, there's 50%. Toga. Okay, away we go. Off to Helsinki. Alright, a little bit of rudder just to keep it straight in the 777. In the sim, the centre of the runway runs right between the PFD. So as long as you keep those squares on the centre line, then you're doing quite well. Right, 100 knots. I missed that call, but all is good. So we're coming to V1. V1 rotates. So smoothly back. Up we go. Follow the flight director. Positive climb. Gear up. That's quite a funky departure this, so I'm going to put the autopilot in. Okay. So we're climbing up. We've got an immediate left turn here. And then there's some other things that are going to happen as well. We're restricted to 205 knots until we get to SA 550, which is here. So we can't go faster than 205 knots. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave all the flaps out. So we've got the climb reduction, so we've gone from the takeoff power to climb power. That was set for 800 feet, and the acceleration altitude here is not set until 3,000 feet. That's the noise abatement procedure here at Stockholm. They want to get you away from the airport and get you as high as possible before you start accelerating the aeroplane, making more noise. So they seem to want to get the noise away from the airport, unlike most airports where they want the noise to happen at the airport, so you're quieter further away. So we're going to leave it in flat 5. We're coming away quite nicely. You can see the speed's now jumped to 205, but I'm going to leave it with I'm going to leave it in flat 5 for a moment and just let it accelerate, because it's accelerating really, really slowly to 205. And if I pull the flaps in now, we're potentially going to be a little bit too slow. So I'm just going to leave it in flat 5 for a second until it speeds up. There's 5,000 with 1 to go. He's cleared us higher. He's cleared us to 9,000 now. So I'll select that. Okay, that speed's creeping up quite nicely. And then once we go over SA 550, then the speed then should jump up to 320. We're through the transition altitude, so we'll go to standard. Okay, there's the speed, jumping to 240. So now we can go to flaps 1. And then when we're within, I think, 15 knots of the flaps up speed, we'll go to flaps up. Okay, flaps up. So it's quite a lengthy takeoff procedure here at Stockholm because of that noise abatement, but we got there in the end. So the after takeoff checklist then. So the landing gear's up and the flaps are up, and William is quite right in saying that we didn't turn the runway lights on. We got the strobes on, but we didn't turn the landing lights on, which is a little bit naughty. I'll fire the first officer. Taxiing too fast and then forgetting the lights. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. 9,000 now. Nearly 1 to go. We're coming at 4,000 feet a minute. That's going to frighten air traffic control, so let's just keep the climb going. Let's go to 250. And he's taken out the speed restriction now. I say he, the imaginary air traffic controller. So let's get this show on the road. Speed jumps up, 320 knots. Okay, we're looking pretty good. So we don't have a lot of time to waste because you can actually see the there's the top of climb, and then we're going to be coming down into Helsinki here at Ririp, I think. So we don't have very long. Okay, it's leveled out at 9,000. Come on. You give it a chance to speed up, I suppose. A little bit cloudy. So there you go. There's beautiful Sweden. All those people in Volvos and shopping at IKEA. Listening to ABBA. Just a typical day in Sweden. And it's a nice day as well. Okay, so 310,000. So we'll do the lights off. What else do we need to do? Seatbelt signs onto auto. Hello to my friend Alex, who is a 787 pilot and is rated in the 777 as well, but I don't think he's flown one of those. Hello, Alex. Lost your number with my phone update. I shall text you my number, my friend. Right, okay. So we've done the after takeoff checklist with 310,000. We've set the altimeters. I haven't set the standby, so we'll do that as well. And now we're coming up to the top climb. Where are we going to? 290. All right, 290. I'm not going to bother with the weather radar today. It's a nice day. I think we can avoid any storms. Can I share my Rex theme? Yeah, I can share my Rex theme. The trick for me with the clouds is not to use soft clouds. I use the original, the hard clouds. Is it even a thing? Hard clouds. The hard clouds tend to be much nicer and fluffy. You know, kind of proper clouds are kind of big and fluffy. I find the soft clouds are all kind of small and popcorny. So I use the original, it's the number 2 cloud set. And the sky themes, yeah, I can't remember those off the top of my head, but I'll, if you remind me at the end of the stream, I'll pull up Rex and I'll show you. Right, so top of climb, we're not quite there yet, but let's do what we need to do. So set the radar for the cruise. Well, we don't need to worry about that because there's no weather today. Discuss engine out drift down capability. I hope we don't lose an engine, so I'm not going to worry about that. Depressurization strategy. Well, there's no mountains to avoid, so we're just going to come down if we depressurize. Diversion airports. Again, we don't need to worry too much about that because we're going to be at the arrival airport in about 20 minutes. Engine and status pages. So that's just checking that everything looks good, which it does, and I guess it's making sure that oil quantity is good and the oil temperature is good. And then the status page, which is this one. So again, I guess it's just checking that the oxygen crew pressure looks all right, and the hydraulic quantity is still there. We're not peeing hydraulic fluid out into the atmosphere, which I don't think we are. So that's all good. And it said check the arrival weather. So let's do that. I'm gonna need. I didn't put a flight plan route in the bloody thing. Jesus, hang on. Bear with me a sec, guys. Alright, so conditions. So it's what the hell's the code for Helsinki? FHK. There you go. My iPad's died. I had the flight plan on my iPad and it's just died on me. Alright, so what do we got? So we got variable winds, 3 knots, good viz, a few clouds at 4,000, 16 degrees, and the QNH 1023. Alright, so what I'll do is I'm going to just pre-select the QNH. Whoops. Pre-select the QNH there, 1023. I'll roll that around. Quite a short hop for the 777. Yeah, well, it's we're in the cargo version. We're in the Aerologic cargo one. So you can do nice short hops in the cargo aeroplane just to fly the big one a bit more realistically. And the other thing is with the 777 is it goes fast as well, so you can get places really quick. I did consider actually doing this leg in the Dash 8, but it just takes forever, and it's and you've got to press all the buttons yourself, and it's quite hard work really. The 777 just kind of does it all for you, really. You know, tunes all the radios for you, and you don't have to think about it too hard really. Updating the heading bug in the turn, love it. My friend Alex, who's the 787 pilot I was talking about, is quite happy with my flying so far, so that's good. Right, so where are we then? So we are 270 for 290. We're coming up 2,500 feet a minute, so I want to pull that rate of climb down a little bit so we don't frighten the horses above. So we're going to dial that down to 1,500 feet. Because we're pretty light at 777, and it's got a lot of performance, so we don't want to bash into the level off and upset that. I don't know what we've got in the back. I wonder what we've got in the back of the aeroplane today. Maybe what did they export from Sweden? Apart from IKEA furniture, the ABBA albums. We've got an aeroplane full of ABBA albums. The greatest hits of ABBA is filling up the back of this 777. We're flying them all the way to Finland. Okay, that was the beep. That told me there's one to go. So that's all looking good. So that should level out now. And then we need to very, very quickly think about the descent preparations. So let's get that done now. So we want to recall and review all the operational notes. Well, there aren't really any of those today. Let's stick it back in VNAV for the level off. Oh, it's going to go up 2,000 feet a minute again. Nah, oh, stupid aeroplane. Alright, there you go. Okay, so we're in the cruise. So we don't really have any operational notes to think about. We've got the ATIS. We've set the Barrow 1023. We want to just check the arrival. So we have set the... Let's go on the route page. Come on, Ben. We're doing the Laku 5 Romeo to runway 04 right. Let's have a quick look at that on the plan page and see what we're going to expect. So, Odesso. And then we're going to come into Lakut, Marom, Vibep, and then HK899, HK811, Gedlo, Dipmo, and down to the runway. So... Okay, that's all right. I think we can just about manage that. We haven't got any ATC to vectors today, which would be nice, but we'll manage. Right, I really need to get my iPad working because I think your landing lights are still on. Are they still on? No, they're off. I turned the landing lights off. Oh, the taxi light's still on, and turn off lights are still on. That's all right. It's a short sector. We don't worry about all these little things on the short sector. As long as I don't crash the airplane, that's all I care about. Right, Navrads. I need to tune the VOR in Helsinki, which I think is called Hell. Okay. Note to self: next time, charge your iPad in the night so that it's not flat for when you need all the charts. I did fly this flight last night, which is why I'm kind of doing it from memory, but so it does all work, although I need the minima. Shit. Okay. Okay, so we're doing a Lackut 5 Romeo. Okay, found some charts. Okay, so coming in from Gedlow. Hang on, that's the on-over approach. There's the ILS 4, right? Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, so it's Gedlow, and then it's, we'll pass over the ESP NDB, and then that's about it, really. The minima are 359, I think. These are Jeppesen charts, and I can't read Jeppesen charts to save my life because I normally use Lido charts, but I think it's 350. Anyway, that sounds about right. Okay, so we've got the reset MCP, so we need to do that. So let's have a little look where we're coming down to. So got to be 10,000 or above at Lackut and 7,000 or above at Marom. So I'm going to be a little bit naughty just to help me play ATC and just see where the aeroplane actually wants us to be at these points. Okay, so it wants us at 10 to... Alright, so let's come down to 10,000. Flight level 10, if we're being good boys. And then what I'll do is, so that we don't bust Marom, I'll harden that up. So that should keep us straight with the arrival clearance. And then VVAP 88, 3,300 above at Gedlow. Again, where does the aeroplane want to be? The aeroplane wants to be 3845, that's okay. And then Dipmo 170.33. And the aeroplane wants to be at 2420. Okay, so need to harden that up as well. So that's fine. That should work. And that's 38. Yeah, that's okay. So that's not going to bust the clearance. That's okay. That should work. Sometimes you have to do little cheats because obviously in the real world you've got an air traffic controller that would give you some help with the vectoring and knowing kind of where you need to be. But we ain't got that. We just got me. And my brain is pretty small. Okay, now one thing we didn't do was the descent checklist, so let's get that done. So recall checked, notes checked, auto brake. It's a pretty long runway. How long is it? It's about 3,000 meters, I think, so I think we should be alright. So we'll just use 2. Landing data, we've got the, I haven't got the VREF yet, so how much fuel we're going to use? We're going to use about a ton. So let's just say 249. And we'll go flap 30. Okay, so we've got flap 30, 146, Barrow 350. And the approach briefing, well, it's just going to be vectors. Around the corner, we're going to come down to Gedlow, 3,300, and then down the hill at Bolzo, if this chart is still current, which I hope it is. So I think we can probably, I don't know, I'll bring us back to kind of 200 knots-ish, and then once we get to Bolzo, that'll be kind of gear down, flap 20 and all that stuff, but we'll figure it out on the way down. Right, okay, that's the descent checklist complete. So the approach briefing says the chart, the terrain, the weather, operational fuel. Okay, fuel's not a problem. Got tons of fuel. We've looked at the chart, the terrain. The MSA is 3,500 feet, I think. And the transition altitude is 5,000. So what I'm going to do is select my runway, throw that on the fixed page. Oops. I'm going to draw myself 25-mile range ring for the MSA. I'm going to draw myself an 8-mile ring for the gear. And transalt is at 5,000, so I'll put a little reminder onto the PFD about that. So if we haven't changed the altimeter by that point, then we need to panic. Alright, so it's not looking too bad. We're coming down, we're moving off path. Everything looks okay. Laku, licorice in Finnish. Okay. Where am I from? Says Abdullah Mohammed. I'm from England, Abdullah. Are you using EasyDock for the head motion? Yes, I am. I'm using EasyDock. Yeah, that's why my head is bobbing up and down. That's nothing sexual. So there's Finland down there. Just for those of you interested in the visual side of things, we're using Orbix Open Land Class Europe, which is really, really good. I'm also using FTX Global. I'm using Rex Texture Direct. I'm using the CloudSet 2, the normal clouds, not the soft clouds. I'm using the Shader Fix, which is the thing that gives us the blue haze. And what else am I using? I'm using Active Sky Next for the weather. I did use Active Sky 2016, but I found in Overcast it absolutely murdered the performance. So I've gone back to Active Sky 2016, which is controversial, I know. William has a 10 o'clock meeting right at the final approach. I'm sorry about that, William. I'm in the 777. We're going. This is probably the fastest aeroplane in the sky at the moment, apart from maybe the 747. But I can't really go any faster than that, unfortunately, because we'll probably crash. Okie dokie. So we've done the descent checklist. Passing flight level 200, according to my borrowed SOP guide. We're going to turn the seatbelt sign on. And then the approach procedure, transition level is the next thing. And then the transition checklist. And then the 10,000 seatbelts and all that good stuff. But that's alright for now. It's only a nice day outside. I think this blue kind of haze is it's quite nice for the summer. I'm not sure whether this is going to work in winter. I don't know if you get haze that looks kind of this blue in the winter. So I think the guy that made this haze, Pedrag or whatever his name is, I think he's going to have to come up with a little tweak for the winter, because I don't think Finland is quite this blue and hazy in the winter somehow. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Adam says, "Will I be at Cosford?" Yeah, I will be. I'm not going to be exhibiting this year because I haven't finished the 777 training program yet, as you can see by my attempts to fly it. So I'm just going to be there as a punter. But I will be there, and I'll have a T-shirt on identifying me as Ben from Airline2Stream, so please come and say hello. William's off. Bye, William. Come back and watch their landing later. Watch me collapse the gear. Johnny Wing says hi. Hi, Johnny Wing. That's a good aviation name. On a wing and a prayer. That's going to be us today for this landing. Okay, so where are we? Coming through 160 down to Lakut. And hard altitude is Maron, which is 10. And then pretty much we're just round and we're down to the final approach there, so that should work pretty well. And then 220 at HK899. Okay, I can delete that above because we're going to be well above that. Yeah, that's okay. It wants to be at 213, so that's alright. That should work. Who we got? Deck Reed, good luck Ben, thank you. FSX, your sky looks fantastic. Which add-ons do you use? Okay, I just said this, but I'll say it again because you've just joined us. It's Rex Texture Direct for the sky textures. I can't remember which one it is. I use the more kind of hazy ones, the kind of European ones. I don't use the really bright ones because I don't think they're realistic for Europe particularly. But I'll fire up Rex when we finish the stream and show it to you. The haze is from a little shader tweak that you can get called PTA. It's called Prepared Tweak Assistant, and it's really good. Although we were just discussing the blue is a bit more. The blue haze is a bit too blue. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's kind of cool, and it looks, it looks kind of immersive. Like you feel like you're in the sky. But I don't know if it's just a little bit too blue. Because X-Plane is a little bit too blue if you've ever used X-Plane. But it certainly looks a lot better than FSX ever used to. First Officer A380 says, hello Ben. Are you actually a First Officer on the A380? That's my question. I have two friends who are A380 First Officers. One who's shortly going to be a captain, actually. Good old Gio. Okay, so the stream views are ticking up slowly. For those of you that have just joined us, we are doing a little test flight, really. This is the first time I've ever streamed on YouTube, so I'm kind of new to this. We are flying from Stockholm, Stockholm Arlanda Airport in Sweden. We're just doing a quick flight in the 777F, the cargo variant, to Helsinki Airport in Finland, which is a really short flight. It's well, we've been airborne for what, 28 minutes now, so it's a really, really short hop, this, and especially short in a 777 because it goes pretty fast. Deck reads a double streaming on my channel. Thank you. Will Captain Johnny be on the program? Will it be a 9-hour program? The 777 program, Johnny has given me a bit of kind of input. Johnny's not doing the teaching. The teaching's done by a guy called Myron Ashcraft, who is a captain for United and retired about a year or so ago. And he flew the 777 for about 13 years. So he did the teaching. He's a really nice guy, really funny guy. Hang on, we're leveling out here. Don't want to get high. So let's keep coming down to 60. There you go. Yeah, so Myron will do the teaching. Johnny will probably make an appearance at some point for some of the other things, like we're going to do a section on ETOPS, and I'm going to get Johnny to teach that. So will it be a 9-hour program? Yeah, it's going to be pretty long because there's quite a lot to do in the 777, so yeah, it's probably going to be the best part of 9 hours. Hello from Rome. Which license do you use, Ben? Says Daniel. I use the developer license, so I just pay for it every month. I think it's $10 a month. And that actually works pretty well for me. Hang on, let me get a bit of speed break going here because we're getting a bit... well, we're still on the profile, but we can't quite get the speed, so let me just get the speed back a little bit. What was I saying? Yeah, I use the developer license, and the reason for that is because it's quite nice to have the updated version all the time. So whenever there's an update, I just download it and get it. I don't have to buy it and then a year later they bring out a new version and it's out of date. So You kind of rent it, really. You know, you just every month you just pay them $10. It's $120 a year, but you always have the latest version. So I'm pretty happy with that. So here's the stupidity of the 777. It's now kind of slowed itself down, and it knows it's now slow. So it's going to put a bit of power on to try and catch up with the speed, and then it's going to get itself bent out of shape on the profile. And this is why a lot of 777 guys don't like VNAV, because it's a bit stupid. And in Emirates, they actually call the 777 the John Deere, which, for those of you that know that your farm equipment is a tractor, so they actually call the 777 the tractor. So there you go. Right, we're below 10,000 now. I've got the seatbelt signs on. I'm going to throw the runway turn-off lights on, so that's one less thing to worry about. And then I'm just going to turn on the taxi light when we are cleared to land. So we are within the MSA now. That's a 25-mile ring. So the MSA, I think, was 3,500 feet. It's going to get a little bit busy now, guys, so apologies if I can't answer all your questions, but I will do when we get on the ground. Okay, so need to get the speed down a little bit, so let's intervene on the speed. Let's get some speed brakes going on. Now the 777 is very, very slippy. It's very hard to get it slowed down, so you pretty much have to kind of seesaw the speed brakes a lot, especially at this kind of level. Okay, there you go. So the speed looks good. I'm on the profile, so that looks good to me. Alright, put the speed brakes back in. And he's now cleared us down to 5,000 on 1023, so we hit that. And standby. Okay, current QNH is 1022 seemingly, but I'm going to change it to the airfield one, which is 1023. It's obviously still using a weather station from somewhere below us, rather than the Helsinki. Alright, so that's not looking too bad. Alright, I think we're probably going to be getting vectors now, so I'm going to come off the LNAV track, so just going to heading select now, 151. And the aim of the game really is just to get us down, so you can see we want to be at Dipmo at 3,000 feet. So we're coming down to 5,000 now, and the airplane's going to, we're going to be at 5,000 at the green arc, the green banana as I believe it's sometimes called. So one thing that we can do is we can draw ourselves an extended center line. So we'll do that off Dipmo. So let's throw Dipmo to the top, and then we want to intersect the course to 039. There you go. And now we'll just draw a big long line from Dipmo going out into the future. So we're about 500 feet above the profile, so let's get ourselves slowed down. In fact, let's go to flap 1. Just bring ourselves back. 17 miles in a straight line to the runway. Really, really don't want to be slow. Sorry, too fast. And he's cleared us down to 3,300, so let's do that. We have the approach checklist, altimeters we've done. And the next thing is the landing checklist. Okay, so that's coming down quite nicely. So the second fix mark, so the little dashed green circle that you can see, is for the gear. So I want to get the gear down by that point. That's 8 miles. Okay, so it's not looking too bad. Can you ask Johnny about the cold and dark procedures? They have different procedures. To be honest, at Emirates, it's incredibly rare that they would actually fire up the airplane from cold and dark. I think Johnny said he only did it once, and that was because the captain accidentally pulled out the turned off the ground power before the APU was started, which is a really bad thing to do on a 777. Okay, we'll go to flat 5, and let's bring ourselves back now to flat 5 speed, which is 188. Apparently the okay, the airplane is climbing. I don't want it to climb, I want it to descend. Let's pull the speed brakes out a little bit and get this sorted out. And let's put the power on as well. Come on, stupid airplane. Yeah, I know the speed brake's extended. It's because I want you to slow down, you stupid airplane. That's it. Okay. That seems to be in a better way. We should see the runway off to our left-hand side. There it is, there's a runway. So, let's clear ourselves for the localizer. And I'm going to do a little bit of a dirty dive just to get us below the glide slope there. So while we've still got the speed brake out. There you go. Okay, so localizer's captured. There's 11 miles. And we should have a very, very, very brief moment of flying level before we go to the glide slope. There you go. Okay, so I'll bring the speed brake in. And there's the glide slope, gear down. And I'll just pull the speed back in preparation for the flaps. So we're going to go to flap 15, flap 20. Okay, and the go-around altitude here is, he said, I have no idea. I think it's 3,500 feet. Next time, when I do this for real, I'm going to make sure my iPad is charged up. Okay, so where are we? We're 7.6 miles. We're slowing down, but we're not slowing down particularly well. So 180 is the flat 30 limiting speed, so that's okay. We can go to flat 30. And that should bring us back onto the speed quite nicely. There's not really any wind, so I'm just going to give us a couple of knots. I think it's +5. And then let's run the landing checklist. So speed brake armed, landing gears down, flap 30, that's the landing checklist complete. And taxi light on. And a quick ding on the seatbelt sign. And then once we land, we're just going to exit off to the right, and the cargo terminal is kind of on the far side of the, we're going to taxi along here, then we're going to turn right, and the cargo side is over here. Okay, box 552 cleared to land, thank you. You're very kind. Alright, so I'm going to do this Emirates style, leave the autopilot in as long as we can. So we've got rollout and flare armed, we've got land 3, so that means the aeroplane is happy. The minimums are 350, so I believe I've got to call check at 1,000, check at 500, check at plus 100, and then landing at the minimums. So let me just get my throttle matched up with the aeroplane. Okay. Autopilot coming out. Check.
400. Approaching minimums.
Check.
200. Minimums.
Landing.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, brakes, reverse. Alright, reverse out. Auto brake off. Welcome to Helsinki, guys. That wasn't too bad. I don't have my landing rate plug-in, sadly, so I don't know what that was, but that wasn't too bad. I don't think I shamed myself with that one. Okay, so let's have a little look. We're not going down there. I think we're going down this one. Yeah, we're going down this one. Yankee. Okay, so let's get the speed brake stowed. Let's get the not the landing gear up. That'd be bad. Let's get the flaps up. Let's disarm the auto brake. Let's turn off the flight directors. Slow us down a little bit because it's quite hard to taxi and do this at the same time, because obviously in the real airplane you wouldn't be doing that. Don't need to turn off lights because it's the daytime. And start the APU. And that'll do us for now. Let's just get ourselves parked. Now we're at the cargo terminal. I think we are 322, I think, down at the end. So let's keep the power on. So yeah, this is Airsoft Helsinki. It doesn't actually have a native installer for P3D, which is a bit annoying. You've got to add it to the scenery yourself, but it's a nice scenery, good performance, and it's really good. Okay, so let's get GSX on the case. So southeast parking, 322, there you go. Do we want to follow me? I don't think we want to follow me because it's generally a bit stupid, isn't it? Let's have Alpha. I don't even know what Alpha means. GSX bizarre way of labeling the handling guys. There's one called Cuisine. Well, what the hell's Cuisine? Okay, so I think, if I remember correctly, where is he? Where is he? He's there, marshalling himself at the moment, marshalling thin air. So I got to go, I think, around this little roundabout, and then in there. I think that's the plan. So, because I'm a good boy, I don't want to blind him, because he's not very smart to begin with, so I'm going to turn the taxi light off. You normally do that on the turn, but it's quite hard to turn and taxi at the same time, so let's do it now. And then let's follow the yellow line. Does that say 322? Yep, 322. And then we want to get the line in the middle of the first officer's window and then make the turn. That's what I learnt. We'd like to see if we can make him dance. I've never ever made him dance yet. Okay, he wants me to come up to the left a little bit. Okay, and stop. Okay, parking brake set, and the APU is on, APU is running, so chop the power. Okay, shutdown flows, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the right last. Fuel pumps off. Can leave the packs on for a moment. I can turn the ADRUs off. Seatbelt signs to off. Beacon off. And let's run the checklist. So hydraulic panel set. Fuel pumps off. Flaps up. Parking brake is set, but I'm going to put the chocks in now. So menu, FS actions, ground connections, wheel chocks, and ground power. So that is the shutdown checklist complete. So park brake off, on, APU off, and let's get the doors open and let's go and have a beer in downtown Helsinki, shall we? So let's open the front door, open the main deck, open. And let's just clear all those. And let's throw the doors up on the first officer's side. Cool. Alright guys, there we go, welcome to Helsinki. Right, let me, I'm just going to wander back through the chat. Do a bit of this actually while we're talking. Right. Issues of floating buildings at Helsinki, really? Oh no, bad times. Right, let me go back through. I got a little bit busy on the landing there, so let me answer some of your questions. Greetings from Germany. Hello. Hello from Rome. Which license? I answered that one. Any A320X videos coming soon? Yeah, unfortunately there is, while the testing is going on of the Flight Sim Labs A320 and P3D, I can't actually show you any videos of that yet. In P3D, but it does run very nicely in P3D, and I'm hoping to show you some of those soon, so stay tuned. Active Sky, I'm using Active Sky Next because I prefer it. Active Sky 2016, I was getting big problems with frame rates. When there was overcast, very thick cloud, I was getting big frame rate problems. I've gone back to Active Sky Next, and it's absolutely fine. Hello, Mine Lord. 777 program. When will it be out? Later this year, 2016. It's got to be, because I'm bored of it and I want to get it off my computer. Danielle said, "How would you say it compares to X-Plane?" It's a difficult one. You know, I like X-Plane. I really do like X-Plane a lot. I actually find bizarrely the performance of X-Plane is worse than P3D. P3D seems to kind of run better for me. X-Plane is quite frame rate hungry, CPU hungry, and it's everything hungry. And if you turn up the settings quite high, it really does hit it. But I love the IXEG 737. It's just brilliant. Danielle, that's okay. Do fly an Airbus A320? Yeah, okay. When you've got two screens, you can fly while watching a stream doing short flights with an A332. Yeah, okay, whatever. Cold and dark, talked about that. Clear to land. Can we show the settings? Yeah, okay. I can show you settings. That's fine. Whoops. So here we go. So, this is what I'm running. I'm running at 4K because it's a 4K screen. I got the frames on unlimited. I got the VSync on. I got 8, 16, and I'm running the textures at high. I'm not running them at ultra. I don't have the wide view aspect on because that does cost you some frames. So you just need to reset the viewpoint. Just zoom it back a little bit. But if you have wide view selected, it does cost you some frames. So just be aware of that. And then everything else is pretty high, I think. Ultra 215, very dense, high. I got clouds. Only the cloud reflections and the aeroplane are reflected in the water, not anything else. And then this is my HDR setting. So I have the saturation quite high because I actually find X-Plane a little bit washed there, not X-Plane. P3D, I find it a little bit washed out sometimes, so I turn the saturation up just to give it a bit more color. And there are the shadows. The weather is on 100 and maximum. Traffic, I've got all the aviation traffic turned off. You'll notice there was no AI today, just so that they didn't fly into me and cause me problems. I've got some ships and ferries, and I got some leisure boats. And that's it. And then the actual computer itself is a Skylake 6700 with a 980 Ti. And it's pretty good. It runs everything pretty well. The biggest change I made recently was a 30 hertz screen, and it just makes it really, really smooth. I mean, I don't know how smooth the stream is, but it's incredibly smooth on the ground here. I mean, it's just, you know, in the VC you can just, you know, kind of look around and it's just butter smooth. It's really, really good. Anyone who doesn't have a 30 hertz screen, you're missing out. So I hope that helps. Northwest, I don't really know what you're talking about, I'm afraid. Perfect landing, well, it wasn't too bad. Which flying school Johnny attend? I don't know the answer to that, I'm afraid. I'm not sure. You got an issue with floating buildings in... Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. Just make sure, I'm going to show you my scenery library. You have to add it manually, so you go here and add area, and then... Whoops. And then it installs it here, so it installs it in this bit in the Aerosoft thing, and then you just got to... where is it? Helsinki. Just got to click it and then add it manually. Make sure also your Orbix libs are at the top, because I found that if Orbix libs isn't at the top, then sometimes you get trees in the runway and stupid things like that. So that's what you got to do. In the Airbus FMC, when you insert a new cruise altitude while airborne, do you do it in the prog tab or the init tab? It's a very good question. In the 777, if you want to update the cruise altitude, you can just dial it in and then press this button, and it will update the FMC. In the Airbus, I don't know. Wouldn't 30 Hz be less smooth than 60 because it shows less frames? Well, I don't quite know the technical explanation for it. My understanding of it is that the frame, each frame gets longer to render in 30 Hz because in 60 Hz, each frame has to be rendered in half the time, so you get more long frames, and long frames are stutters. In 30 Hz, the frames have longer to render, so there are fewer long frames, if that makes sense. But no, 30 Hz, the only difference with 30 Hz is the mouse. Some people say there is mouse lag in 30 Hz. I personally don't find any mouse lag at all. And the only way that I can even tell that I'm running 30 Hz is to look in the desktop resolution settings. It doesn't make any difference at all. But I do know somebody that bought exactly the same monitor as me, and they hated it. They hated the mouse lag. They just hated the world and sent it back. So, hey, everyone's different. But I swear by it. I absolutely swear by it. It's changed the world for me. Not changed the world, that's really stupid. Do I use Orbix Global and Vectors? Yes, I do. So it's FTX Global and Vectors and Open Land Class Europe as well, running here, which is cool. Right, guys. Any more questions? Fire away, because I'm gonna run. I'm gonna come back on. I'm gonna do another stream in a little while. Is Johnny flying with BAW? No, not that I know of. Did you fix this Helsinki night lights? Are there problems with the Helsinki night lights? This is news to me. I'm gonna need to. I'm gonna now put it into night and have a look. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. They're kind of big, right? Wow. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Wow, it's like little, yeah, wow. They're like little orbs. It's hilarious. No. No. No, I only flew here in the day, so I didn't see that. Maybe the answer is not to fly here at night. 777 program, did we go to Dubai? We go to Doha. We go to loads of places in the 777 program. We go to Hawaii, we go to Honolulu, we go to Kalahui, which is a really short runway in Hawaii, which is a real one for United. We go to San Francisco, we go to Doha, we go to Munich, we go to Hong Kong, we go to loads of places. Loads of places. Adam says, thanks Ben, great hearing from you again, no problem. What's a good cruise altitude for the 777? Well, you don't choose this yourself. You can use a program. Let me show you. So let me show you a quick quick way of doing this. So this is called SimBrief. Some people use PFPX. I use SimBrief because it's just really easy. PFPX is just more kind of messing around. So let's say you were going to do a flight with Emirates. Okay, so UAE, and let's choose a flight number 4432. So let's say we're going to go from, I don't know, Manchester in the UK to Dubai, OMDB, and it will pick you an alternate, which there is Abu Dhabi. I don't think they use Abu Dhabi. I think they use Muscat for some reason. They don't seem to like going to Abu Dhabi, but anyway. So let's choose Muscat in Oman, and then you just pull down the little tab and you pull down the aeroplane that you want to be. So they fly this with the 777-300ER, and then look, it goes da-da, and you get some things, and then you can analyze the route. Okay, so there's some problems with the route there, but I think this is because I'm using outdated. I think it's because I'm using an outdated IRAC. You can click one of the suggested routes here. So click that one and it should use it, or click that one, analyze it. Okay, there's an invalid endpoint there. Okay, there you go. That one works. So there you go. There's your route. So you're going to cross over the Netherlands. You're going to cross over Germany. You're going to cross over Austria, Hungary, Romania, over Turkey. They don't like flying over Syria and Iraq anymore. So down through Iran, and then down to Dubai, and that's it. So you're done. You can choose a number of passengers. So let's say we're going to have a full house today with everyone's going to Dubai for the sun. Click that. And give it a moment. While this is doing, let me answer some more questions. You need to redo the textures, DXT1. Yeah, you see, I really hate it when you've got to go in and start manually doing crap in airport sceneries. It really annoys me. It's like, it really it winds me up, because there's so many sceneries that are really good, but they just don't quite work because the people that made them haven't been bothered to update them or finish them. And in fact, I'm actually thinking of launching a small business that actually just fixes other people's sceneries and other people's airplanes and other people's programs that they haven't quite finished, and just charging people, like, you know, $1 for all the things that are now fixed, because I'm pretty sure it would take off. Next stream time, says Andy Murray, are you the tennis player? I bet you get that a lot. Probably, what time is it now? 3:30. I don't know, maybe give me 20 minutes or so. I think I did a flight to Djerba in Tunisia a couple of days ago. So maybe we could fly at Djerba and go somewhere, maybe somewhere short, somewhere in the Med. It'd be quite nice. Okay, don't worry about that. Will there be a first officer training program like the Q400? Yeah, there will. That's the plan, because there's a lot to think about. Is the next stream with commentary or no commentary? It will have commentary. Okay, back to the flight plan real quick. So as you can see now, SimBrief has generated a flight plan from Manchester to Dubai, and really there's nothing to it. It will tell you everything you need to know. It tells you all the fuel. The fuel is here, 61.86, so 61,868 kilos. That's the fuel you put on. It will even tell you your zero fuel weight. So it's going to be 214,231. And it will give you this bit here, which is the cruise level. So you're going to climb to 330 initially, then 350, and then 370. And that's it. And then all you got to do is you can type this into the FMS. This is the route. Or you can download FMS. See this thing here where it says PMDG flight plan. Just download that. And then you will end up with... no, I don't want to do that. You will end up with a little route, and you insert that in the PMDG flight plan folder. Dead simple. So there you go. That's how you get the realistic cruise level. Okay, so this is Djerba in Tunisia. So this is where we finished off yesterday and yesterday's test stream. So maybe we can fly from here somewhere late this afternoon. Come up with a place, and I'll suggest it. Will there be an A380 training program? I don't know. There's no A380 yet, so when someone makes a really good A380, then yeah, I've got I know 3 people that fly the A380. So so we've got pilots, but just no airplane. 787. Yeah, we've got a 787 pilot. Well, I say we've got. I know a 787 pilot. Hopefully, we can get him. There is an X-plane. Is it any good though? Is it any good, the 787 or the 380 on X-plane? I don't know if it's detailed enough to do a training program for it. We can only really do training programs on add-ons that are really, really sophisticated and really, really well modeled. If there's stuff missing, it's quite difficult to do the training because we talk about stuff that isn't there. So we say, right, hey, press this button, and this happens, and then it doesn't happen, and then it's really stupid. So, no, it's not very good, apparently, the A380 and X-plane. Oh, dear. Looks like you're outvoted. Okay, so, right, next stream then. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? We are in Djerba. Let's have a look at the map. Okay, so we are here. This is Djerba. There you go. So what is it now? 3:30. Got an hour or so. Where could we go from Djerba? A little cargo. We could go to Malaga. I've got the new Malaga scenery. Or we could go to Valencia. Or we could go to Palma. Or we could go to Ibiza. Or we could go to Menorca. I don't know if Menorca's big enough for a 777. Maybe. I'm not sure. Or we could go to Athens. Or we could go to Sharm el-Sheikh. Dubai to Doha. Dubai to Doha. Okay. Yeah, okay. We could do Dubai to Doha. Let me just check whether I got all the scenery for it first. What do we got? Yeah, that's Doha. That's Dubai. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we can do Dubai to Doha. There you go. LXGB, Gibraltar. In a 777, that could be quite good fun. LTBA, that's, is that Istanbul? LLBG. I don't have the scenery for LLBG. That's LLBG is Ben Gurion, isn't it, in Israel? I don't have the scenery. I bought the FS 2004 one, and then I realized the FSX one was a different one, so it doesn't work. So I was really annoyed. I was really quite annoyed that there were 2 different sceneries for it. No, we're gonna do. We're gonna go from Dubai to. We're gonna go from Dubai to Doha. That's the plan. Jordan King is in the house. Hi, Jordan King. Okay, where's the sim gone? Hello, sim. It's probably crashed, actually. Yeah. It's run out of memory. All right, cool. So, okay. Right, guys. There we go. Deal with VATSIM. No, I'm not going to deal with VATSIM. I'm not going to deal with VATSIM. One thing I need to do is I need to go and find my phone charger because my iPad has died and that has all the charts on it. And trying to do any flight without charts is quite difficult. So, two things are going to happen. I'm going to reboot this and... okay, so... OMDB. If you can hear banging in the background, by the way, that's my my brother-in-law. I actually live in the countryside. My brother-in-law lives on the farm next to me. He's kind of like the farmer, and he is building something, and he's been making like banging noises like all day. Okay. Next stream about an hour. Well, I'm going to load it up at the gate, and then I'm going to go and find a charger for my iPad, and I'm going to go make a very quick cup of tea, so you can enjoy the sights and sounds of Dubai Airport for a moment. Doha to Dubai better than Dubai to Doha. It doesn't really matter. We're in Dubai now, so I don't think it makes any difference. I mean, Dubai and Doha, they're both big airports, big long runways. It's always an ILS. There's not a lot to choose between them, to be honest. So, okay. That looks good. I think that works. Okay, so I'm going to load the Gerber panel state just so that we don't have all the crazy time. Okay, so here's one thing PMDG really could have done, which would have made life easy for everyone, is if they'd had one button that said disarm. But hey, what can you do? Okay, that's cool. Reset the chronos. Reset those. Clear all those. Cool. I think that's about right. Let's have a quick check. Turn on the ADRUs. On. No smoking on. Seatbelts. I think we've got external power and external air conditioning. I hope we have. Yep, we have. Cool. Okay. Right. Right, there you go, boys. I'm going to be back in a couple of minutes, so talk amongst yourselves. Be nice to one another in the chat. I'll be back in about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back with you. I face an utter disaster in that I've run out of tea bags, so I've got a coffee instead, which, for an Englishman, is, as you know, a disaster. Okay. Right then, we need a flight plan, don't we? Otherwise we're not going to go anywhere, so... Having just... By the way, I'm out of breath because my house is... I live in a 3-story house, and my office is right on the top floor. So it's a long way to the kitchen, so... And I'm also very unfit, so that's maybe why. Okay, a couple of things we need to do is make sure that we are today and the current time, which we are. And I need to make sure that the weather is forced to the sim time. Well, actually, I could just turn it to live, can't I now? Because that's pretty much all we need. Okay, cool. Because SimBrief is going to give us the weather from now, so... UAE, we'll make up a flight number. OMDB, we're going to OTHH, and we'll go to Bahrain if we can't. Is it OBBR? Can someone check the code for Bahrain, please? 777, what are we, 300 ER? It's almost night in Dubai. What time is it now? It's 3:47. Yeah, I guess it would be. 30 left, 16 left. Let me just check that tallies up, because sometimes SimBrief. OBBI. Oh, okay. What's OBBR then? Is that even a place? Okay. All right. Right. So where are we? OMDB. So the weather's 32011. It's given us 30 left, so that's okay. And then OTHH. 35 degrees, Cavalcade. Very hot day in the desert today. And it is 1107. So runway 16. Yeah, that should work. We don't need all the NOTAMs, we don't need all this. It's such a short flight, we're not going to get hung up over the en route winds and all that stuff. How many passengers do we want today? Should we have a full house? Okay. Alright, so here we go. So we'll generate the... Ben, it's almost night. Well, in the sim, I might have set the sim to... yeah, okay. The sim has set itself to... the sim has set itself to my local time, which is 3:30. And then when you click GMT, it thinks it's 12:30, which is not. So it's none of those. In Dubai, is it 2 hours ahead? 3 hours ahead? Can someone check the local time in Dubai? That'd be cool. So that's the local time. 6:49 p.m. You know what? Let's just fly it in the day, because I mean, it's the desert. There's nothing to see at night. I used to live there, believe me. There's nothing to see at night. Okay, so let's download the detail. Oh, detail navlog got to be selected. Okay. Generate OFP. I don't really know why I'm doing this. It's the shortest flight in the world. In fact, Johnny, the 777 guy that I know, told me that this flight they actually do all the briefing on the ground because it's such a short flight. Okay, download of MS, PMDG, flight plan. Okay, so we'll have that, and we'll put that in the route. Whoops. Oh, there's already one. Let's get rid of that. Here you go. Okay, I'm not going to bother with the winds and all that because there's no point on a flight this short, and it doesn't really matter in the and the desert. Save as, I'll just check that on the desktop. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to save that to my Dropbox. Where did I save that? Where did I save that? There it is. Cool. All right. Done. All right. God, thank God for all that. VATSIM. No, I'm not going to do it on VATSIM because I don't know who's online, who's not online, and I really can't be bothered. Okay. Right. Is my iPad charged up yet? Yes. It's on 1%. Is it just me, or does everybody else's iPads, does it literally take forever to charge? Like, literally, like 2 days to charge. I don't know why. Why is that? Okay, so... where are we then? So, we've done the initial flight deck safety checks. We've aligned the ADIRs. I need to do the initial position, so we'll use the GPS for that. Let's get the route, so that's going to be OMDB to OTHH. And then we'll leave that to think about what it's going to do. Apple needs fast charging like Android. Yeah, they do. They do. Although I'm just about to... my phone contract's just about to finish, so I'm hoping to get the 7 Plus. I got the 6 Plus last time, and it's huge, and everyone laughs at it, but it's really good. Okay, so let's load the route. And what I'll do is I'm going to use this side for all the ground stuff, because it's a good reminder that we've still got stuff connected. Alright, so we're going to be, what flight number did we say? We're going to be EK4, what's UAE 4543? Or do they use EK in the FMS? I don't know. 4543. Okay, we've got the perf in it, don't need that for now. So let's go in and have a look. So it's giving me 30 left to a sit at 3 Foxtrot. So 30 left, a sit at 3 Foxtrot, and then the arrival is the AFNA 1 mic to 16 left. AFNA 1 mic to 16 left with no transition. That looks good. So perfect it. I'll reject that because we've not got fuel. Don't need wind yet. So let's do the fuel and let's do the payload. So block fuel for Dubai to Doha is 15.3 tons. We're going to run the APU for a bit, so I'm going to get 15.5. And then the payload, zero fuel weight for this sector is going to be, estimated zero fuel weight is 214.2. 0.2. Oops. Why will it not let me do 214? Is that too heavy? Which aeroplane are we in? Are we in the 300 here? We're in the 200. And I did a flight plan for the 300. That'll be why. Stupid man. Okay, alright. We'll just lower it to... let's just make it 200. There you go. Oh, look. Okay, that's close enough. and the fuel and everything is pretty much close enough. So reserves, I can't change the aircraft model because I don't have the 300 installed. Otherwise I would just change the model, but never mind. Okay, and then the reserves, so that's going to be enough fuel for us to go to Doha, do a mist, and then fly to Bahrain. So that, according to the flight plan, is 3.7. So we want a bit more warning than that, so we'll say 3.9. And then the cruise out is going to be 260, which we shouldn't have any problems getting to today. Cost index is 34, and then the average wind 053 at 13. Apparently the cruise CFG, more realistically, is 20% in the 200s, according to those in the know. Is my iPad plugged into my computer or the wall? It's plugged into the wall, although I did discover the other day that if you use your iPhone charger rather than the iPad charger, then it charges more slowly. But all my chargers have been mixed because they're just white ones. I couldn't tell you which one's which, so they're all mixed up. So I could well be charging it with an iPhone charger. Apparently, the iPad chargers have a higher amp or something. So there you go. All right, let's get some takeoff performance then. So 777F freighter, that'll do. It's virtually the same as the 200. So takeoff. So we're going from OMDB, and then let's download the weather. So does that match with what we've got? Very hard to tell in the desert this time of the year because the weather doesn't really change. 34 1005. Yeah, that's the correct weather. We're going off. What do we say? 30 left. Yeah, 30 left. Okay, could we go from an intersection? Haha. Alright, this is where it all gets slightly complicated. In fact, I'm not going to do that because the runways have changed to the scenery, and we might get ourselves in a mess if we try and go from an intersection that isn't in the scenery or isn't on the chart or whatever. So let's just do full length. Let's just keep it simple. And then the gross weight is going to be 215. Compute. Alright, so that's D-rate to 67, 144, 144, 146, flat 5, takeoff 1. Okay, now one thing we did find out in the 777 training is that the D-rate on this is sometimes a little bit too generous. So in other words, the D-rate is too high, and you actually find that you get a bit frightened on the runway. So we knocked it down a bit for the 777 training. So I'm just going to D-rate to 60, and we don't have the option to do takeoff 1 on this particular airplane because it's not selected. So in fact, I could D-rate a little bit more, couldn't I? 60. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just ignore me. Then takeoff. So we said flap 5. And what did the computer say? It said 44, 44, 46. Okay, it's not many miles away, is it? 144, 144, and 147 is close enough. I'll take that. I can't fly to 1 knot accuracy, believe me. Right, and then takeoff page 2. We're going to have the acceleration at 1,000. And the thrust reduction at 1,000, which is standard Emirates fare, so that's fine. We don't need the wind unless it's a tailwind. There's no slope, and outside temperature, we don't actually need that, but we'll put it anyway. And let's delete the speeds, great. It was 144, wasn't it? 144. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much it done. RadNav we don't need to worry about because there's not even a VOR at Dubai anymore, and it's an RNAV departure, so we don't need to worry about that. 4,000 or below at Emuni, I think is... so let's go to data and zoom out. Right, yeah, Emuni, 4,000 below. So let's throw 4,000 in the window. Let's line up the heading bug with where we're going. Now, if you're really good, you get the chart out and see the exact thing, or you could look in the FMS, but really, as long as you just get it on the white line, that's really all that matters. Let's get V2 in, which is 147. Let's get the flight directors on. Let's arm the LNAV and VNAV. Let's put the order brake into RTO. FMC is giving me a caution to say it's wanting me to do some stuff. So it's uploading the wind. Again, for a sector of this length, it really doesn't matter. But otherwise, it will just keep nagging me, so we'll put it in. iPhone chargers, okay, we've got some iPhone news in the chat. The iPhone charger is a smaller cube. The iPad charger is the bigger, bulky one. The iPhone chargers only provide one. Really? Is that true? Wow, okay. Okay, that I didn't know. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on the Takeoff ref page. So we've done fuel, we've done the payload. I think now we just need to do our safety checks and all the rest of it and get going. So let's get my Emirates SOP guide out. Alright, so we've got power, we've got the ground power running, air conditioning panel. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crank up the APU because we need to get that running normally for about 10 minutes before departure, apparently. So we've done the ADIUs. Engine status will say that's been done. Doors page, we can see doors are on manual and they're still loading. We've done the FMC setup. We've done the performance. We've done the NAVRAD. I'm not worried about MSA. There's nothing to bump into in the desert at all. So when the APU is running, we need to check there's 5 items here, and the SOP says it's called SADPA. So in other words, it spells out SADPA. Now it does depend, the parking brake's off, so there's another one. It does depend in which order they're in. So in the PMDG it generally says pad no, or it generally comes up with slightly different ones, but anyway. So let's get the seatbelt signs on. Okay, so we're just missing APU. So in a moment we'll get APU. There you go. So we've got APAD. Okay, so we've got APAD. That's cool. All right, so we need to turn the packs on because it's warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ground guy to disconnect the air conditioning. And I'm going to get him to turn off the external power. So I've got to disconnect it at my end first. Don't just pull the plug out. That's quite bad apparently. So he's going to take that away. We'll leave the chocks in for a moment. And let's say the ground guys now have been running around outside in the crazy heat, and they've got all the luggage on board. So now finally they're going to get some doors closed as well. Okay, so now one really annoying thing about the PMDG, the Flight Sim Labs does this a bit better. What it does is the doors are manual until the pushback, and once you start pushing back then they arm themselves. In the PMDG there's not really any way to do it. The only way to arm them all is to open them all, which is an absolute ball ache, and then you've got to close them all, and then it comes up with the arming caption, because otherwise it won't say doors armed and then the aeroplane will not be happy. Okay, that looks about right. We'll leave it like that for now. Let's get the packs on. We're fueled, so we can turn the fuel pumps on as well. And I think that's about it really. So let's wave bye-bye to the dispatcher. He's gone. So we can get all the doors closed, and he's going to take the chocks away. So we normally wouldn't arm the doors till we're pushing back, but because we are operating so low, let's just get that done now. So cabin crew arm doors, and then the wheel chocks removed. So that's all done. So now that page needs to stay on the climb page. So takeoff ref on my side and climb on his side is how you would set that up. Okay, so we've done everything now. So what we need now is we need the pre-flight checks. Whoops, not on his side. Come on, Ben. Don't do that. So let me reset them because it's still got the securing checklist from the flight to Jerba. That's something that you should do. First time you get on the airplane, reset all the checklists. Okay, so pre-flight, so oxygen. I'll test my side, FO can do his. So flight instruments, heading and altimeter, so 210, 210, 60 feet, 60 feet. So that's done. So there's a pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so we've got DAPA. Doors auto, APU running, passenger signs on, parking brake set, auto brake RTO. We do a quick recall, and the reason we do this is because we've now kind of got everything set up the way that we want it to be. So what we're looking for here is just to make sure that there are no more ICAS alerts, so there's nothing else broken while we're setting the airplane up. So we've got the hydraulic pressure, the engine shut down, the brake source, that's fine. Brake source, there's no hydraulics of the brakes, because the engine's not running, which is fine. Engines are obviously shut down on the hydraulics, we haven't pressurized yet, so everything there is what we would expect to see. I'm going to clear out the baro minimums from the last flight because we don't need those. We've got the zero fuel weight, we've checked the fuel, that's all good. Now it would be the briefing, which is a load of gumph about stopping on the runway and what we do if we reject and what we do if an engine blows up and all that. We're not going to do any of that today. The most important thing really is the chart, the terrain, the weather, and the operational. So the chart we've looked at, it's going to be an RNAV departure, so it's in LNAV, RNAV, and we're going to climb up. We've got to stop at 4,000 feet at Amuni, which is going to be straight ahead. The terrain, there's literally not much to bump into out here in the desert. There are some tall buildings in Dubai, but they're in the other direction, and the high ground is off to our right-hand side. We're heading out over the sea, nothing to bump into. Weather, hey, we're in the desert. Look at it outside. There's not a, well, Active Sky's given us some clouds, but I don't think there are any in real life. Active Sky does this. Visibility's not great. This is quite typical of the desert. If it's windy, then the visibility comes right down because it whips up all the sand. And as you can see, the visibility is not that great. But it's not going to cause us a problem today. Operational, so that's just in case there's some cats in the hold or dogs or horses or something, but there's none of that, so we don't need to worry about any of that. So fuel weight, we've done that, we've done the performance, we've set that, VSPs are all done, and we've run the pre-flight checklist. So now we would talk to the ground engineer, we would try and get some kind of pushback. Okay. And we're going to go, okay, it doesn't want to give me a direction. It's quite typical, isn't it? Okay, we'll just do a straight pushback and then I'll stop us when I'm ready. Okay, so before start procedure, hydraulic panel. So we need to pressurize the right side first. So it's that one, and then we wait for the fault light to go out. And then it's the rest of them. So the hydraulics are pressurized, and now the hydraulics are pressurized, we can set the trim. So the trim needs to be 3.5, so that's set. And now we hit recall, and we shouldn't see anything other than engine shutdown, which is what we've got, so that's good. Now we hit the before start checklist, so the flight deck door, close and locks, MCP, we've got 147, 300, 4,000 feet set. We've got the takeoff speed, 44, 44, 47, CDU pre-flight's complete, trim we've just set, taxi and takeoff briefing is complete, and the beacon is on. That is the before start checklist complete. Okay. So set that to TARA, and that's it. We are clear to push back. So let's release the brake. Alright. Okay, so we're off the block, so make a little note of the block time. What we can do is we can actually run the chrono and then this one will give us a record of the whole flight. I can't remember whether it's the left one or the right one. You run one of the chronos. It's one of them. We need to display the engine page, and then we're going to start the engine. So let's start with engine number 2. Now it does say that you should start the engine that's on the inboard side to the tug, because that means that the engine then isn't running against the tug, but we're going straight back, so it doesn't really matter which one we start. Don't need to worry about any N2 with the 777. You can basically just turn the start switch and throw the fuel in, and the engine will sort itself out. Am I a real pilot, says Mattia. No, I'm not a real pilot. I just spent a week with a real 777 pilot a few months ago, so well, I'm no expert on it at all, but I probably know more than most guys. One little gotcha with the 777 is the traffic button here. If you don't press this, it won't display all the traffic. It will display a traffic if there's you know, someone tries to crash into you, it will, but it won't just display it all for awareness, which is a little 777 gotcha. So just be aware. Most of the time you just leave these pressed in, and it will say TCAS fail. Okay, I think he's going to stop us there.
Set parking brakes.
Okay, it's not the most impressive pushback in the world, but it'll do. Okay, so he's going to tootle off. We can't do anything until he's disconnected. So, and then what we're waiting for here, you can see the red line on the engine on the EGT that my mouse is pointing at here. I think you can see a mouse on the stream. Yeah, you can. When that goes off, then that means we can do the
Unlocking gear.
after start flow.
Tow truck disconnected. Line thus being removed.
Okay, so first thing is we turn the APU off. Nothing else to do on the overhead. The 777 does literally everything for you, which is wonderful. Next thing is to get rid of the engine display, and then we're going to call for the flaps. Now we need flap 5, so that's 2 clicks. And then when the flaps are down, we don't do it before the flaps are down, and the reason for that is because sometimes the flaps get kind of hung up on the controls.
Right,
So
clear.
we're not going to do the control check till the flaps are all the way down, and they're pretty slow on the 777. I know a lot of this plane. Yeah, I do know a lot of this plane. It's terrifying. It's a really cool plane, though. It's a really cool plane. Because what people forget is it was actually designed after the Airbus A320. So people think the Airbus A320 is clever, but the 777 has newer technology in it than the A320. So technically, it's more advanced. Right, he is going to wander off over there, so he's gone. So what we can do now is the before taxi checklist. So anti-ice we don't need. Recall is checked, so that's just making sure that nothing's broken while we start the engines. Auto brake set to RDO. We'll check the ground control, the flight controls, and the ground equipment. He's wandered off over there back to cool down in the air-conditioned office. I'm going to get rid of GSX because that stupid stairway is in the way. So I'm just going to restart Coatl, or whatever the hell it's called. Okay, that'll do that. Right, 30 left. Let me go and have a quick look at the airport chart and let's just see where we're going to go. So OMDB, AGC overview. So 30 left is basically behind us. So it's this runway here. So what we want to do is just swing around to the left. All this has been demolished now. It doesn't exist anymore. This is all the stuff of the old Dubai Air Show. We're going to taxi down. The chart is a little bit different. They've actually changed the layout in real life to what we're going to see in the sim. But we're basically going to go down Kilo, and we're going to come on to the runway at Kilo 17. That's the plan. So if we can see that, then hopefully all will be well. So we've done the before taxi checklist, and we are ready to get moving. So let's do that now. So taxi light on. We don't need the runway turn off lights because it's in the day. Parking brake off. A little bit of power. Quick dab on the brakes to make sure they're going to work. and then hard turn over to the left. I can get rid of the yokes. You only really need those for the control check. Lovely flight Tampa, Dubai. Really nice scenery. So I'm going to turn us left here onto this taxiway. David Gilbert's waiting for the 777 Cadet Series. I know. I'm afraid you'll just have to put up with me teaching you for the time being. Well, I'm not really teaching. I'm not a teacher, but I'm going to show you a bit of what I've learned. Okay, so what we want to do now is basically just concentrate on the taxi. The runway center line needs to run between your feet. So if you imagine, there's the seat, there's the yoke. I'm a little bit off it. You need to just keep that running between your feet. So imagine your feet on the rudder pedals. Just keep that center line between your feet. There's the cabin ready. I'm taxiing too fast, 30 knots maximum, because I was distracted looking down at my crotch.
On taxiway. On taxiway.
Okay, there's the RAS system, thinking that we're trying to take off, which we're not. So the aeroplane will register that, and it would now be sending that information back to head office saying that we taxied too fast on the taxiway and set the RAS system off. So already I'd be in trouble. Right, so looks like we're doing okay. So where are we? We're coming at Kilo. And then Kilo should lead on to Victor. But again, I think this is different to the chart.
On taxiway.
Alright,
Taxiway.
shut up. So, yeah, okay, yeah, that's okay. There's another taxiway in real life. There's an extra little taxiway on the left-hand side now, which is on the chart, which is not on the not in the sim. So I said kilo 17, didn't I? So there's kilo 16. So I think kilo 17 is the next one. Is kilo 17 even in the sim? I don't know where it is. I can't be bothered going all the way down there, so we'll do this one instead. This is the problem when the charts don't quite match up with what you're seeing in the sim. It can be a bit of a problem. Okay, so we're lined up. Parking brake on. And this is an old scenery, but stood the test of time. Yeah, this is the Dubai. This is the rebooted one that they brought out a couple of years ago, but it is, you're right, it's an amazing scenery. It's kind of a classic, isn't it? If you can imagine like a classic scenery, this is a classic scenery. Right, I'm going to have a quick sup of my coffee, which is going very cold. What axis did I assign to the steering tiller? I didn't. I'm just steering with my feet. I quite like to just steer with my feet, just like you would in a Cessna. And the reason for that is because it leaves your hands free to do other things. Because obviously in the real aeroplane, you wouldn't need to use a hand to look around, whereas you do in the sim. So I just steer with my feet because it just leaves your hands free. The other thing that I have is I've assigned the Easy Dock look to a hat switch on my yoke, so I don't need to use the mouse look. So I'm using the Easy Dock there. And the nice thing with the Easy Dock hat panning is it's really nice and smooth as well, because it doesn't pick all the movements of your hand. Whereas when you do it with your hand, you see that's me doing it with my hand. It's a bit quicker, but it's not quite as smooth. Anyway. We're burning fuel. Let's get going. So takeoff review. We need flap 5. That is flap 5 is indicated and is selected, and it's what we need. So all three need to match up. We have runway 30 left. Are we going to go on the wrong runway? No, we're not. There's 30 left. We're going to line up, so that's good. We've got V2 set 147. We have Toga Toga, LNAV, VNAV. That's just to check to make sure we press the buttons, because if we take off, we're going to expect the aeroplane to do certain things, and if we've forgotten to press these, it's just going to go straight on, and it's all going to get confusing. It happens in a real aeroplane, so that's just a quick check. We've got 4,000 feet set, so a pretty low level off, and it's a pretty sprightly aeroplane, so we need to be prepared for that. I'm going to get the autopilot in quick to account for that, because it's going to level off really quick. 300 set on the heading. We've got the correct SID. We have the stabilizer trim set 3.5. We've got the transponder 3314, and that's on TARA. And that's a takeoff review complete. before takeoff checklist, flap 5 is selected. So let's not forget the lights this time. Quick get in your seats to the cabin crew. You're going to turn the terrain on, give it a little bit of power, get around the corner, and away we go. So the trick with the lineup in the 777 is not to go too fast, which I'm doing. Don't follow the yellow line. You get the yellow line in the middle of the screen, and then you go hard over, like that. I'm saying like that. I probably overshot that, but you get the idea. So a little bit of power, and then going to move the viewpoint back round. There you go. So you see I overshot that a little bit. If I'd been a little bit quicker, would have made that. But that's okay. So the terrain's on. That's all set. That's all set. Quick sanity check to make sure we're not about to kill ourselves with no flaps. We're not. So that's all good. Right. Off we go. So power up. Set the chrono. Wait 50%. Toga. Okay, so we've got quite a big D rate on today, 87.7. So okay, we're not on the taxiway. Disregard. So next thing is going to be 100 knot call. So that's 100. Check. Can't remember whether the Emirates aeroplanes call out V1 and rotate. We'll find out in a second, but I'll do it myself just in case. V1 rotates. So back we come. Don't pitch the flight director. Just smoothly pull the nose up. That's it. Positive climb. Gear up. Okay, low level off here. So let's get the autopilot in. Help us out. So hands off the controls, and we're in VNAV speed. We're climbing up nice and fast. So the airplane's now going to pitch to maintain 172 knots. Okay, there you go. We've got the climb power in and the acceleration altitude. So the climb power's come back to climb 2, and the speed has now gone up to 220. We've got to remember that we've got a level off here at a Mooney. So we're accelerating through flap 5 now, so we can go to flap 1. And then once we are through the flap 1 speed, and within 20 knots of the flaps up speed, so that's now, we can call flaps up. Okay, so he's cleared us to flight level 90, the imaginary air traffic controller. So if one push cancels the restriction at a Mooney, and now you can see we're going to keep climbing. So where it's at in Mooney, it's at 5,000 or 4,000 below. That's now vanished, and it's clear. This is a good reason to get the autopilot in quick so that you can do all this stuff. It's quite difficult to hand fly and do all this stuff at the same time. Even in the real aeroplane, they'd have the autopilot in by now. Okay, there's Dubai. Looks nice, huh? I'll afford us a quick glimpse of the city as we climb out. I used to live in Dubai. I actually lived in a place called Ajman, which is an emirate, which is on the other side, which is kind of that side of the aeroplane right now. But it didn't really look like this when I lived there. But it's a pretty cool place. It's somewhere. It's a bit like the Vegas of the Middle East, really. If you get a chance to go there, you probably should. It's one of the few places in the world you'll see gold-plated Ferraris and stuff. Okay, we're through transition, so we'll go to standard. We're climbing really well, we're pretty light, as you can see. We've got a speed restriction in, 220 knots until Demto, which is coming up here. So quite a low speed, so that means quite a big rate of climb. So let's keep the climb going. We don't want to bash into 9,000, so we're going up to 260. So there's 26. After takeoff checklist, landing gear up, flaps are up. That's the after takeoff checklist complete. I'm going to leave the standby altimeter on the airport. There's no kind of hard and fast rules on the standby. The standby, you should technically change it to the rest of them, but if we do need to go back to Dubai, it's useful just to have that as a quick point of reference to see what the altimeter should be. So it's looking nice, looking nice. I think we're going to get a little bit of a sunset, or maybe it's too early. So 1 o'clock Zulu, that's 2, 3, 4 o'clock in Dubai, I think. Alright, so we want to zoom out and just make sure that we've got a couple of waypoints ahead so we can see where we're going. So we're 310,000 now, so we can turn the lights off. We can turn taxi and the runway turn-off lights off. We can turn the seatbelt signs onto auto. We don't want to turn them off, we want to leave them in auto. That's in case we forget to turn them on the way down. And in fact, when we get to 10,000, they'll bing, which is just a good reminder to us that we're going through 10,000. Oh, my coffee's nearly cold. Okay, so we're through 10,000, so the airplane's speeding up. So normally, I think at this stage in the game, I think the other guy's on the legs page in case we're going to get any shortcuts. So let's, in fact, let's give ourselves a shortcut now. So he's going to say, Emirates 55, whatever we are, direct citat. Apologies to anyone from Dubai listening, but that is how they sound. Although actually, they're more likely to be American or British in Dubai, actually. Don't think there are that many local controllers in Dubai. I think they are. They're locals in Doha, I think. There's the Palm. Sim time, not the real time. 7:26 p.m. Is that right? So it's 4 p.m. now. Okay, yeah, okay. You confused me there. 7:26 in Dubai, so it probably would be dark. Because in Dubai it's quite close to the equator, so it does go dark pretty quickly. And that was, when I lived in Dubai, that was one thing I found really weird. Because living in Northern Europe in the summer, when it's warm, not that it's that warm, but when it's what we call warm, the nights are really light, so it doesn't go dark till kind of 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And then in Dubai, because it's near the equator, it goes dark by, kind of 6:30, 7 p.m. It's pitch black, and that was really weird for it to be kind of warm and dark, because being from Northern Europe, when it's dark, it's cold. So that was kind of weird. Okay, back to the flight then. So we've passed through 10,000. We've done the climb cruise procedure. We don't need to worry about the center fuel tanks because we don't have any center fuel. And the next thing is going to be the top of climb. So there's a procedure to have a little think about there, so we'll do that in a second. David said, looking forward to learning to fly this properly. Yeah, me too. Funnily enough, it's weird with the training courses. We're doing a stream this weekend. This is the whole reason I'm streaming now on YouTube, is because there's a thing called Flight Angels, which is a charity stream that I'm involved in this weekend, and I'm doing a leg which goes from Stockholm to Helsinki. And the departure from Stockholm is a kind of slightly weird noise abatement procedure, and it involves basically climbing up at kind of V2 plus 20 or plus 10 or whatever the 777 does, climbing up to 3,000 feet before you start to accelerate, which is kind of weird. You don't normally do that in most places. And the aeroplane has a slightly weird climb profile. And you got to be careful with the flaps, because if you're too quick with the flaps, then you can retract them too quickly and frighten yourself. And we actually covered this in the training, but I can't actually remember the technicalities of it. There's a little bit to know, but I can't quite remember the details. And obviously because the training isn't finished yet, I haven't got to that point where we cover it. So the training is really useful. Funny enough, I flew the Dash. I flew the Q400 for the first time. In like 3 or 4 months, because there's a new beta version of the training one which is coming out soon, and again there was stuff about the Dash 8 that I'd forgotten, so I need to go back and watch the training. So if it's a good advert, then I do actually watch my own training programs just to refresh myself and things. Joker says most of them are British in Dubai. Here in Doha we've got 1 British, 1 South African, and the rest are locals. Yeah, I think in Saudi Arabia it's the same. I think a lot of the ATC guys are locals as well. So, Joker, are you an ATC guy in Doha? Is that your thing? By the way, guys, this is we're kind of testing the stream. if you've got any comments on the, I'm streaming at the kind of highest bitrate that I can do with my internet upload. So if you've got any comments on does the stream look okay? Is it laggy? Is it buffering? Does it look okay? Does it sound okay? If you have any comments on that, let me know, because that's something I need to go off and fix if there's any problems with it. Student pilot in the Qatar Aeronautical College. Ah, cool. So you're going to be flying for Qatar at some point. Perfect for me, says Tom. All right, cool. Thanks, Tom. Better than Twitch, yeah. Well, I think you can have a higher bitrate. Okay, there's one to go. One thing that I probably should have done and I didn't because I was busy chatting was you can frighten other aeroplanes. It doesn't really matter here because there's really no traffic around, but if you were flying in say the London area, you don't want to do a level off at a really high rate of climb, because someone else's TCAS could be set off and it'll start going traffic, and everyone will start panicking. So when you're flying in very busy airspace with a lot of airplanes around you, then you generally would jump in and hit vertical speed and just dial it down, because it depends on the airplane as well. If you're flying an Airbus A320 that's full of people and fuel, it's not going to climb very fast anyway. But a very light 777, which we've got today, a crazy performance, so you can easily upset everyone if you're not careful. Quality of the stream is great. Cool, better FPS than average Twitch stream. Well, I'm streaming it's 1080p, and I'm streaming at 60 frames a second, so that should smooth out any stutters. And it's about 6 megabytes, which is as high as I can go. I have a kind of 7 megabytes or MPS or whatever it is upload, so I can't really go any higher than that, unfortunately. But I'm glad you guys are happy with the quality of the stream. Okay, let's get back to the flight then, guys, because we haven't got long. My coffee's nearly cold now. Calvis, something at CTC, you inspire me to reach my goal of being a pilot. Cool, well, I'm not a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot, but I ended up doing other things, so now I just pretend. Screen res is 1080, says Jordan. No, the screen res is 4K. The sim is running at 4K res right now, but the stream, the YouTube stream, is 1080. So I think it's downscaling it from 4K to 1080. So I think that makes a difference. I can't run at 1080 now because it's a 4K screen, and running it at 1080 makes it look like it's got jam smeared on the screen. It just looks awful. Even I can't pretend that well. Well, that's very kind of you. I have spent a lot of time with real pilots. With Airline2Stream, I've spent a lot of time around real pilots, so they've beaten a lot of the procedures into me. Right, let's concentrate on the flight, guys, because I can run my mouth, as DeAndre likes to say. So, set the weather radar. We don't need that. We're in the desert. There's no rain for about 1,000 miles. We don't need to worry about losing an engine. We don't need to worry about diversion airports because we're so close. We'll just go back to Dubai if we've got a problem. Engine status, I'm happy that they're all good. Let's have a quick check on the weather in Doha. Okay, closest. Hello. Destination, it thinks we're going to Helsinki, which we're not, so I'm not entirely sure what Axis Sky's playing out there, but never mind. So OTHH 34, 25, 080 at 4 knots and 1005. Okay, so let's preset QNH on there, 1005. Let's get the minimums in and the radnavs in. So let me pull up the airport chart. So anyone that has a chart handy, I'm going to be looking at the star for, I think we're going to go to 16 left. Quick way to find out is in the route page. Go to route and go to, there you go, page 2. So it's the Afnan 1 mic to 16 left. So let's have a look. Okay. So I'm looking at the stars to runway 16 left for Doha. So it starts at Afnan, 12,000 or above, and then it goes to Sidmu, and then it goes around, let's just check we've got the right one. So it should be Sidmu, Eggnog, Okay, I've got Bhutan in the... Oh no, that's the Ginto one, Mike. Ignore that. So that's correct. Ivani and then Tovan. So that all looks quite good. I think we would probably get vectors from Ivani, I guess. I don't know. I haven't actually landed in this direction before, so I don't know. But that looks about right to me. Let's have a quick look at the runway itself. ILS 16 left. That's what we said, wasn't it? Yep. So it's basically we're going to come in to, we're going to descend down to 3,000 feet, and then at 9 miles start down, and the minimums are 220 feet. So let me set the minima 220. Okay, that'll do. There is a VOR in Doha. Now, one unfortunate thing about the scenery that we're using is that it doesn't actually tune. I don't think they include it in the scenery, but we'll give it a go. DOH. Okay. Well, something there. We'll have a look. I'm not entirely sure the nav aids are going to work, but we'll give it a go. 108.7 is the correct frequency, and 156 is the inbound course, so that is all correct as well. Next thing we need to do is the landing performance, so let's just do this real quick. At the moment we have 11.7 on board up there, and we're going to be landing with 10. So we're going to use, between now and then, we're going to use 1.7 tons of fuel. So that means our gross weight on landing is going to be 211.7 minus 1.7 call it. So let's say 210. And then the aeroplane, that makes no difference to the landing speeds at all. So flap 30, 137. And then if we're going to be really, really good boys, then we could also just see how long the landing roll is going to be. So OTHH, okay, it's not in the landing calculator. It's too new, so that's not going to work. But I can tell you that the runway is very, very long. If I can't get it stopped, it's 4,850 meters. It's probably one of the longest runways in the world. So if I can't get it stopped on this runway, then you have my permission to come around and beat me to death. That was a joke, by the way. Don't come around and beat me to death. Right, I think we've done everything. So let's go back to my descent preparation notes. So we've done the ATIS, we've confirmed the FMS, we've done the VREF, we've done the minimums, we've set the NAVRADs. Let me set a fix for the landing. MSA I'm not going to worry about because there's literally nothing to bump into around here. So fix. I'm going to do an 8-mile range ring for the landing gear, so we want the gear down by 8 miles. Don't click it again because then that's put the fix in the FMS. And the transition altitude, where's the star? So much paperwork flying aeroplane. That's one thing I've discovered. Okay, the transition altitude is 13,000 feet. So in other words, by 13,000, if he's not cleared us to something, then we need to worry. So I'll put that in as well. So there you go. Right, that is everything. Auto brake, I think we can get away with 1. That is everything for the descent. So now we talk about the briefing. So the chart. The only other thing that we haven't done is what we're going to do when we actually get on the ground. The hardest thing about flying an aeroplane is actually just parking the thing. So we're now 16 left. The terminal and everything will be on our right hand side, so we're going to come off probably halfway down, Alpha 6. I don't know, we'll figure that out when we get there. If any of you guys actually have a chart, then maybe you can choose a stand and we'll park. You can choose the stand. There you go. I think that's everything. So let's do the descent checklist. Recall. Check. FMC message, that's okay, that's just telling us to go down. So recall done. Notes, there aren't any Auto brake was set to 1. We've done the VREF and the minimums, and the approach briefing is complete. Cool. Alright, so we need to be 12,000 or below at Afnan, so let's clear us down to 120. There you go. So you can see how busy this gets. One thing about Flight Simulator is that if you ever read any of the flight sim forums, you have people, oh man, you know, I hand fly the 777, I hand fly the 777 all the way from like 30,000 feet all the way down to the ground, and I don't know who these people are. I think these people have like superhuman powers, because you can see if you actually want to fly the airplane the way that it's flown by the real crew, so following the SOP guide, they're just, you can't hand fly it. It's impossible. There's too much else to do. I mean, I could just ignore all this and just point it at the runway, but hey, well, you know, where's the fun in that? PMDG, you know, they spent years building the aeroplane like this, putting all this stuff in, just for us to go, nah, forget it. I don't care about all that. I'm just going to fly into bridges upside down and all that stuff. I don't know who these people are who can hand fly. I will not hand fly this, so like 1,000 feet will take the autopilot out, and that'll be it. But it won't be before then, because that's how the real guys fly. You don't get to hand fly 777 very much at all. Alpha 12 says Jordan. Alpha 6. Well, Calvis going first, so let's go with Calvis because he got in there first. Alpha 6, that works. So that is. Hang on. That's on the wrong side of the airport, that guy, so we're going to have a really long taxi. Alpha 12. You really want me to taxi all the way around to the side of the airport? Okay. Alright, well, we'll do that. Okay, so we've got idle and VNF path, and we should start coming down now. Yeah, okay, alright, we'll go to Alpha 6. It's a really, really long taxi. It's all the way around the other side of the airport, but you know, you guys, you're killing me. So let me have a look. I need to get the chart out now. So what we're going to need to do is... Alright. I don't want to miss the turning, otherwise we're going to have to turn back on ourselves. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the auto brake up. I'm going to turn the auto brake up to 3 so we stop quicker. And then I need to come off at Alpha 6 along Romeo. And then right along Juliet. And then down to the Alpha terminal. Wow, you guys, you're killing me. You're killing me with these gates, man. Longer the taxi, the longer the stream. Yeah, that's true. It's okay. Don't worry. My wife's not home for another. What time is it? 20 to 5. So she's not home till 6. So that's the point at which I'll be required to go and do husbandly things. And Larry said, 2 guys in a real flight deck, 1 guy can do the panels while the other flies. Yeah, I mean, that is a very big consideration, really, with flying the sim. You are doing the job of 2 people, and even 2 people can be really busy. And this is, particularly this flight, Dubai to Doha, it's a really, really short flight. And even the real guys would be pretty busy. You've got to remember as well that there's no ATC here, so we're not talking to anyone. There's no other airplanes to worry about, so you know our life is pretty simple. Is there a shared cockpit with the 777? No, there isn't. There isn't. The problem with shared cockpit is a great idea, but the practicality of it is a bit more of a challenge because you need to find people to fly with, and obviously that is a challenge in itself. You need similar computers as well, because I found with the Dash 8 that if you fly with someone and if their computer is slower than yours or yours is slower than theirs, then one of you will find yourself kind of stewed around a little bit to match the other one. So shared cockpit it's a good idea, but it's not something that I think most people are going to use a lot. Okay, my iPad has just died again, so you guys are going to have to help me when we get on the ground. Laurie said, thanks for paying us a visit to Helsinki. Yeah, no problem. Well, I'm going to be back there later on because that's where I'm going in the charity stream. Okay, we've got a few moments of calm in the descent, so let me just check on the chat. It wasn't illegal to broadcast ATC, listen to live ATC all the time. Yeah, I know. I think there was a petition to have, because it is illegal to listen to and broadcast ATC in the UK. I think there was a petition to Parliament to change that, because it is quite outdated now. It is a bit stupid, really. Are you going to use AuraSim on the 777? No, because the AuraSim app is not finished with the 777. It's very, very complicated to make it work. I actually have the real Boeing performance calculator, which maybe I'm not supposed to have, but I do, but obviously I can't use that in the program. And I can tell you that the real one is quite different to the Top Cat one and the other one. What's the other one called? Is it Topper Sim or something? If you compare them, the sim ones to the real one, there's some big differences, believe me. What else are you guys saying? Airlines prefer pilots to use the autopilot. It's more efficient. Yeah, absolutely. I think with flying the real airplane, it's all about covering your backside. There's no rules about, you know, whether you can fly this or whether you can fly that, but, you know, if you do something stupid and you put the airplane in danger because you wanted to hand fly, I know Johnny said that sometimes they would do really long flights, you know, to China and places like that, and he would be absolutely shattered on the approach. You know, you'd be flying the approach and you've been awake for 20 hours or something, 24 hours, and all you wanted to do was just get off the airplane and just get to the hotel and get some sleep. And the last thing on your mind was, you know, hand flying it from 20,000 feet. You just wanted to get it on the ground safely. I've got the chart up. All right, Jordan, I'm going to need your help on the ground here, because my iPad's died again, so I have no idea where we're going to be going. So you're going to have to be my FO, I'm afraid. Which runway we're landing? We're going to land on 16. So I just need your... I've got everything tuned, so I'm just going to need some help with navigating my way around the airport to the stand. This should be done in real life. A chat room to guide the pilots when they get lost. PMDG should really put company demands. Yeah, the one thing that would be great in the sim is this page. Where are we? This page here. So this is the kind of data link page. Now in the real aeroplane, this page is used more than anything else. When you're actually flying, this page is used almost all the time. So stuff like your weather will come here, your flight plan will come here, you'll get messages from the company about passengers and stands and everything, and it will all come through this thing called CPDLC. And when you're flying across the Atlantic, your tracks and everything will all come from here. And sadly, in the sim, it's not modelled. And I know that, I think PMDG, I think they talked about it, and I think it's something that might appear in the future. But it'd be great if it did, because there's a ton of stuff to teach you about what this does and how it all works. But obviously it's not modelled, so it's a real shame, especially, you know, doing like transatlantic. You constantly be on this screen down here, but it's not modelled, which is a shame. Okay, so let's have a look at what the airplane's doing. So at the moment we're in VNAV path, so that means it's happy, it's on the path, but as you can see, the speed is creeping up. So what it's doing is it's trading the speed for the path. So we can help it out a little bit with some speed brake. So if you're a real ace of the base, and apparently you pull this out slowly, you don't just kind of whack it out. So you just pull it out slowly, like that. And you can pull full speed brake in the triple. There you go. And that will just bring us back. What you need to be careful of is once it reaches the speed, so you see the speed on the left hand side, it's just coming down to the speed. Eventually it will then start adding power to maintain the speed with the speed brakes open, and that's when it will give you the caution. So you want to make sure that you stow them before that happens. 777 is notoriously very bad at maintaining the speed. A lot of the real pilots will constantly kind of override the throttles manually because the 777 is a bit stupid. First officer, A380's got to go. Alright, see you later, man. Bye bye. A320X doesn't make the con work too. 16 left, Jordan. 16 left, dude. Or FS Lab to make the convert. Yeah, I think this is something. I mean, the FS Labs guys are. I mean, I'm not a beta member. I have a beta of the aeroplane, but I mean, I'm not involved in building the aeroplane. But they're pretty clever guys. I mean, at PMDG are clever guys as well. But the guys at Flight Sim Labs are very, very clever guys. So I would be surprised if we didn't have some more clever stuff for the A320 coming down the track. Okay, so we are. I think we're below the transition altitude, aren't we? I think I seem to remember. Oh, I didn't put it in. So let's say 8,000, and we're going to go to 1005. And the reason the aeroplane is not happy and it's showing me that in yellow is because it thinks the transition altitude is 5,000. I did set it. Okay. All right, let's go to 5,000 then. Hang on. Okay, so it wants to be at 8,000 or above. Okay, let's go to 8,000 then. This is where ATC would be kind of useful. One of the hardest things when we did the Q400 training program was the ATC, because obviously in the real aeroplane, you get vectoring and stuff like that, but you don't when you fly in the sim. You have to do the vectoring yourself, and that can be quite difficult. So you're flying the aeroplane and trying to vector at the same time. All right, so it's a nice night in Doha. I've been to Doha a couple of times. I actually flew through Doha on my honeymoon. But it was the old airport, which is just to the left of the new airport. Right, lots of questions coming in the chat, guys. So I'm going to have to concentrate on the approach. So if you've got a question in the chat, don't worry. When we land, I will come to you, and I will answer all your questions when we get on the ground. But let me fly the airplane for now, guys. So let's have a little look where we are. Let me concentrate here. So we've got to be flight level 80 above at Eggnog, which is there. That's kind of cruelly ironic because eggnog is a Scottish alcoholic drink, which is quite amusing in this rather religious part of the world. I've already set the Q&H for the arrival. I was a bit early on. If they were actually, I'm going to do, I'm going to put us back into standard. That was my bad. I wasn't really concentrating there. Transition altitude is the green dot here. So below this point is when we've got to go to the standard pressure. So that's okay. It's not a big deal. The airplane's saying drag required. So what it's saying is it can't maintain the path and the speed. So the speed's creeping up. So let me help it out. So let's pull speed brake. We're through 10,000. Let's get the lights on. This is where it all gets kind of busy now. Let's get the turn off lights on, so that's one less thing to do. Okay, around the corner we go. There's the airport. So we're landing on runway. There's a speed brake. We're landing on runway 16 left. That's this one here. Alright, so we're going to come around the corner, we're going to come over this little spit of sand here, and we're going to land, and the gate is on the other side of the airport over here. So we're actually going to try and stop halfway down the runway, because if I miss the bit that goes across, then we're going to have to turn around and go back on ourselves, which I don't really want to do. So we're going to, the plan is to land, we're going to try and stop by the halfway point, taxi across, and then along here, and then the stand Alpha 6 is there. But Jordan has promised faithfully he's going to get us to the gate, so that's the plan. Okay, so just a quick reminder on the range rings. This ring that you can see here is for the gear. So let me zoom out a little bit. So no, that doesn't really work, does it? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, we're going to go around the corner and back, and then by this point here I need to have the gear down. Just a little visual reminder. That's a little trick from Johnny. Right. Okay. What have I forgotten? I feel like I've forgotten something. Approach procedure. So we're not a transition yet, so I can't do anything else. The next thing is going to be the approach checklist. I'm going to just leave that open as a little reminder to not forget to do it. Okay, we've got the DME up on the runway IDE. Hopefully that is the code for Doha. Okay, my iPad's just come back to life. I'm just going to leave it in airplane mode for a moment. Okay, there's 8,000. So let's continue down to 5,000. So it's in VNAV alt, one push, we'll put it back into path. There are different ways to fly the 777 on the approach. Some guys will just use flight level change. So at the moment we're going to go around a tow van, and tow van is kind of where we level off for the top would drop down to the runway. Some guys would just use flight level change for this. Some guys would use vertical speed. I'm using VNAV path because that's what I was taught to do, but there's a million different ways to do it. At the moment we're still on the star. The kind of rule of thumb, although it's not a kind of hard and set rule, is if you're on the star and the aeroplane is navigating itself along the LNAV track, then you're kind of fine to leave it in VNAV. Once you're kind of away from the star, so if you then start getting, so let's say he vectors us off to the right hand side now, or back into the airport early or whatever, which I hope he won't because then we'll be too high. Then we could then think about maybe using flight level change or VS, but at the moment VNAV is fine. Okay, so 5,000 is fine. We can go to 1005 now. I'm just going to hit B and just check that it's still updated and it's still fresh, so that's fine. We've drifted a little bit below the path. The speeds now come back to 215, so I'm going to intervene on the speed. I don't want it to drop too low, so I'm just going to hit 250, 220. I'm just going to keep us a couple of knots above the mid clean. I don't really want to stick the flaps out yet. So the plan really is, let me just do the approach check. So altimeter's done. You really want to have a plan before you make the approach about what kind of speed you're going to be. I basically want to come around, I'm going to slow down to the flap 5 speed when we come around the corner to Ivani, otherwise we'll go too far outside the circle. And then once we're at tow van, then I'm going to think about slowing us down, and then I'm going to get the flaps and the gear around here, IDE 94. So with the 777, you go flap 1, flap 5, you don't bother with flap 15, it's then gear down, flap 20, and then 25 and 30 once you're on the final bit. Okay, so he's going to give us some headings now. I was a bit naughty there with the heading bug, I should have lined that up, but ignore that. So he's saying heading 335 and descend to 3000. Okay, so what we can do here is we can either leave it in VNAV or we can just go to vertical speed. Vertical speed is fine. Let's go to flap 1 and get ourselves slowed down. So roll the speed back. Flap 1. Now that the flap's coming out, we can increase the VS a little bit, just keep us coming down. See the green bananas vanish now. And also you see it's still calculating the descent path as well, so we're still on the path. We're 32 feet above the path at the moment. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do is going to throw Tovan into the top, and then I'm going to set that to intercept on the 156 course, and that just draws a nice big long line so we can see where we are in relation to the final approach. So that looks pretty good. Okay, he wants us to turn left now to 245. So that's alright, speed's coming back. Now what we want to do now, as we come around the corner, is we just want to see, we want to get see the green banana, we want to basically just rest that on the top of Tovan. because we want to be at Tovan at 3,000, and we just want to adjust our vertical speed to make sure that we kind of hit it. So at the moment it looks like we might undershoot a little bit, so we can just lessen off the vertical speed. And actually that you can see that the path now, because it's drawing us a path from where we are to Tovan, and we're about 500 feet below the path, so there you go. It's alright, it'll sort itself out. Also got a bit of a tailwind as well, which is not very helpful. Okay, that's not looking too bad. So now he wants us to turn left to 210, and we're clear for the localizer. Alright, there's the localizer. Seem to capture the localizer pretty early though, which is worrying me a little bit, but never mind. So we need an EFB from the PFD. Yeah, we would need an EFG. That'd be quite nice. Okay, so we've got the cabin ready. Now we're clear for the ILS. So let's press that. So we're going to descend down to 3,000 feet. We've got flaps 1. We're at 200 knots, 18 miles out. That's absolutely fine. We're in good shape. Next thing is going to be the landing checklist. So we've got the ILS tuned. We've got the heading 156. Heading buggers on 156. We're just waiting for the glide slope now to come alive. And then what we would do is we'd do a quick PA down here, wherever the PA button is. Is it that one? Oh no, hang on. I'm thinking I'm in the wrong aeroplane. Peel, there you go. Cabin crew, seats for landing, thank you. Alright. So there's majestic Doha, which is the most boring city in the Middle East. Believe me, I've been there a few times. Okay, so the localizer is just coming back into shape. Alright. So once the glide slope starts moving, then we're going to go flap 5, so let's just do that now. And then just as we pass over the 9.4 point, then we're going to go for the gear and the flaps, and by the time we hit the green arc, then we should have the gear and the flaps set. So gear down, glide slope, got that. And we can go to flap 15, flap 20. As you can see, the speed's building up now. Hopefully that flap setting should sort that out. And then we can go straight to flap 30, but not until we're below the flap limiting speed.
2,500.
So flap 25. And then flap 30. And VREF is 137. And we'll add 5 knots. In fact, I'm not going to add 5 knots. I'm going to say 140 because we've got a bit of a tailwind. If you noticed, we got a little bit fast there just as we came down the glide, and that's because we've got a little tailwind pushing us down. Okay, landing checklist. So, speed brake arm, landing it down, flaps 30 with a green light. That is the landing checklist complete. We are cleared to land. Taxi light comes on. And then I just got to say what I see in front of me. So I've got to wait for the land 3 flare and rollout to arm, which hopefully it will any second now. There you go. Land 3, rollout, flare, and then I've just got to check the altitudes as they come down. So 1,500 plus 100 and minimums. And then Jordan, you're on the case for the taxi in. The go around altitude here I think is 3,000. No, it's 4,000 feet. So let's just set that real quick. We've got all the lights on. It's got a little bit dark here now. I could do with some cockpit lighting, but I'm not going to turn it on now.
1,000.
Okay, 1,000 feet check. Grease it, says Mattia. I'm not sure I'm going to grease it. Okay, so that tailwind's vanished now, so I can crank the speed up a little bit. Just give us a little bit of a... give us just a little bit of margin. Don't want to get it too slow. The 777 is notoriously bad at maintaining speed. So Jordan, vacate Alpha 7, Alpha 6, Romeo, left on hotel, left on whiskey, Alpha 6 is the second to last done. Jesus. Wow.
500.
Okay, let me sort that out. I need to get the autopilot out really, because otherwise I'm not really going to get a feel for the landing. Now this could be one of those places where the PAPI and the glide slope don't really help. So I'm just going to use the glide slope down to about 200 feet. And then, okay, approaching minimums, check. Minimums landing. Okay, so the PAPI's showing me a little bit low. The ILS is showing me on the glide. The ILS is now showing me too high. Never mind. We're just going to punt for the touchdown zone. 2 big blocks there.
30. 20.
Okay, 20.
10.
Hold it off. There you go. And we're down. Okay, reverse. Alpha 7. There we go. Okay. Right, I think we're going to go straight on now, past these two. Okay, so I think it's straight on, and I think it's right at the cargo building. Is that correct? So, tell you what I'll do is let me stop and bring the flaps in, stow the speed brakes. Again, in the real aeroplane you could do this while you're on the roll, but it's kind of harder to do in the sim. Let me turn the APU on, and everything else can stay as it is for now. We don't need to clean up anything else. Let me get a little bit of backlighting going on inside the flight deck. I do want to do this on the approach because it kind of hammers your frame rate a little bit, so I didn't really want to do that on the approach. What am I doing up here? I want to turn on the glass shield. There you go. Right. So make a right here, okay? Right, I'm in your hands, Jordan, because my iPad is dead still, so it's right here, and then it's next left, I think. Okay, so it's Alpha 6 Romeo, so that's Romeo on the right hand side, I believe. This is a really nice scenery, but typically for taxi to gate they haven't updated the installers for P3D V3. So I think there might be some issues with the lights and things, which is a real shame because it's a beautiful scenery. And try and keep the taxi speed below 30. So one thing about the 777 is you realise how fast it goes in the air and on the ground. So straight ahead, left on hotel. So is hotel... down at the end, okay. Thank you, Jordan. First Officer Jordan, in your new role as an Emirates First Officer. After Tango 1, beautiful. There's Tango 2. There's Tango 1. I've just realised now that the stream is slightly in delay as well, isn't it? So... okay, there's hotel. Yeah, the delay is better than Twitch. You're absolutely right. It's not as pronounced, is it? One thing I've just noticed, actually, looking at the stream, because I've got it open on my iMac next to me, is it's a lot darker on the... looks a lot darker than it does on my screen. I think the brightness on my monitor is pretty high, because... I mean, I can pretty much see everything, but it looks like there's kind of gloomy blackness on the stream. Oh, it's fine. Okay, cool. Do I recommend P3D? Yeah, absolutely. The left Aris from Flight Sim Labs said to me that P3D V3 was the FSX killer. And I wasn't sure at the time because I couldn't really get P3D to run properly. But since I upgraded to a 30 Hz monitor, 4K monitor, I'm all over P3D now. Left on whiskey, it's the last left. Okay, so is it beyond the terminal? Have I got to go kind of past the terminal, then left? I think that's correct. That's 7. Oh, I've gone past it. Yeah, I've gone past it. Oh, hang on. Alpha 6. Hang on. I'm a bit lost now. Go further. Keep going. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was just confused because I saw over there Alpha 7 and then Alpha 9. They must be odd numbers. In typical Doha fashion. It's not... Ah, whiskey. Yeah, okay. Ah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, in typical Doha fashion, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm sure I'll be alright. Okay. So... a little bit further on. So should be in here somewhere. Is that the plan? Make a left. Okay, just avoid this crazy Qatari driver. Ah, yeah, okay, Alpha 6, yeah, I got it. I got it. Alright, so, let's be good boys. Turn off lights off, taxi light off. Got the APU running, so we're not going to be plunged into darkness when we stop. Not sure. Is there a... I don't think there's an Agnes here, so... let me call for a marshaller. Gate Alpha 6. Okay, it says it's too small. So, I don't think it is. I think that's just GSX being stupid. So, we're just going to eyeball it. From what I understand about marshalling in certain parts of the Middle East, I think I can probably do a better job than the marshaller, so... but I didn't say that. Yeah, it's not. This is certainly big enough for a triple. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, I can see the 737-300, 777-300 markings on the ground. That'll do. Okay, so let's turn Stormlight on so we can see what we're doing. Right, shutdown checks then. What are we going to do? We've got the APU running. We're going to turn those to cutoff. And then let's do the flows. So we'll turn those off. We need to turn the right one off last. So there. We can turn the fuel pumps off. We can turn the beacon off. We didn't use the weather radar, so we're not frying anyone. Let's turn the flight directors off. What else have we got to do? Let's stop the chrono. So 54 minutes, that's not too bad. What else is there? I think that's it. Right, let's run the checklist then, see if we've forgotten anything. Hydraulic panel, fuel pumps, flaps, parking brake is set, but let's get the chocks in, get the brakes turned off. So FS actions, ground connections, set. No, I don't need air start, I need air conditioning. 34 degrees outside. And then now I can turn the brake off. And that completes the checklist. Cool. Alright, so let's clear that. Let's throw the doors up on matey side. And then let's go through the long process of disarming all the doors. Let's get those open. And open. I think they used 2 left on the triple, actually. Could be wrong. Alright, we'll open both, just to be on the safe side. Alright, there you go. Cool. Alright guys, that's it. I think there's a jetway. Oh, there you go, the jetway moves here. Cool. Let's turn the logo light on. We'll hop outside and I'll answer some questions in the chat. Alright. Am I going to call up GSX? It won't let me because it says this is too small, and then I'd need to go into the settings and piss around, and I can't be bothered. Hi Finley, hey. Right, let me just I'm just going to roll through and just see if I missed any questions. So which planes do I enjoy flying, Airbuses or Boeings? I kind of like all of them, to be honest with you. I like the 777 is quite good fun because it just gives you enough to do to keep you busy, but it does a lot of things for you. The Dash 8 is a lot of fun, but it's hard work. It's very, very hard work to fly, and sometimes you just can't be bothered. So heading bug, yep, I got the heading bug in the end. Aveless off the FB. I have that, but I don't really use it anymore because you don't really need it, to be honest. If you've got the charts, then you kind of got everything that you need. I mean, the airplane will tell you where you are. I guess it might be quite handy if you're flying a little Cessna or something, and you know it's harder to work out where you are, but. You know, if you're flying a big aeroplane, it tells you where you are. Which joystick am I using, says Tom? It's a trusty old CH Products Flight Sim yoke, which is, you know, it's one of the cheapest ones, but it you know, for the amount of hand flying that I do, which is very little, it's absolutely perfect. I prefer the CH1 to the Cytec one. One day I'll invest in a really expensive one, but because I don't really hand fly much, I'm more of a button pusher. I don't really need it. Go straight ahead. Can I share my EasyDuck profile? Yeah, I can. I'll upload it to our Facebook page or YouTube. I'll stick it somewhere you can find it because a few people have been asking for it. Nice landing, thank you. Am I going to make another flight? No, because it's 5:20 and I'm I've done 3 flights today. It's 4K downscaled at 1080p. The reason why the textures, I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's a 4K monitor, it's playing at 1080. I don't quite know. Jordan probably knows more about the technical aspects of it than I do. I'm not that smart, I'm afraid. There you go. Okay, any more questions, guys? Fire away, because we are nearly done. A little bit earlier on in the stream, I actually had my friend Alex, who flies the 787 for a living, actually tuned in. That was quite stressful. I'm going to make live streams a regular thing. I don't know really. I mean, I what was the distance of the range ring for the landing gear again? 8 miles in the 777. Yeah, 8 miles. And the other one, in fact, if we hop back in the flight deck, it should still be there. No, it can't. It's cleared it out. So you select the runway from the legs page and dump that in, and then you type /8, and then you put that in there in this one for the landing gear, and then /25 for the MSA, because the MSA is based on 25 miles. All right, dude? It's just a reminder. I mean, you should have the gear by 8 miles anyway, but it's just a reminder that if you haven't got the gear down by 8 miles, then you're probably going to screw it up. Shooting in a native high resolution makes the stream look more crisp than shooting in the stream's native resolution. Yeah, I guess it probably does. I mean, I think I lowered the texture size. This is the image texture. I lowered it because I found that Orbit Stockholm, which I was running a little bit earlier on, but I don't think that there are no 4K textures here. I don't think so. I think loading up 4 doesn't seem to make any difference here. Doesn't seem to kind of do anything. So there you go. There's external view. Kind of nice, huh? Right, any more questions, guys? Fire away real quick, because it is dinner time here, almost in the UK. Well, I said dinner time, it's not quite dinner time, but we're not far off. Yeah, I was right about the door, because the jetway's gone to two left. So I think, if I'm not wrong, I think in the triple, I think one left is left closed, and I think the catering, I think comes to, I think the other side. I think it's one right or 4 right. I can't quite remember. I think it depends on where you are. But I can find that out. So all these answers will be in the 777 training course. Alright guys, cool. Well look, no problem, it's been fun, and we'll be back again soon. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on another stream sometime soon. Alright guys, take care, bye bye.